Okay, we're gonna work on some flowers and the stems. The bird is sitting on, he's perched on a little branch. So I'm taking a little bit of my raw umber and a round brush. This is just a number 6 round. And I'm going to put in a few of these little branches. I'm making this one thick enough because he's a big bird, and if it isn't thick enough, it won't look, he won't look like he is supported by it. And we'll just put a few little stems coming out up top. And we had that imaginary one in here. We're going to actually put it in. Just a little something. Sometimes I just take a little brush, little extender on it, and I just touch it to diffuse it a little bit so it's not so bright. Looks like it's supposed to be there. And it goes through his foot and then down below. And this one has a few little branches coming off of it. We'll cover some of these branches with our pink flowers, so don't be alarmed. It won't stay that way. And we're going to put a nice cluster of flowers over that, but just a few little stems would be good. Then we're going to mix up our pink flower color. I used Naphthol Red Light and some white, and you can put a touch of raw umber in it if it's too bright for your liking. This is just a medium pink. And we're going to put some flower suggestions. We'll start at the very top since we're going to put our hands in this. And I'm going to use my round brush and put some suggestion of petals. Now, don't plan everyone out so perfectly. They should be, I think of mamas, papas, and babies. You might have a large one, a middle size, some little ones. Otherwise, if we get everything exactly the same, it's going to get boring. Okay, that's all I really want on that little clump up there. I might add I still have some of my leaf color. I might add just a little bit more of some leaves in here. You can do that if you need to. Don't have to do it now, but you can do it whenever you feel like you need some. And I'm going to lay in all my flowers. Put some little ones out here. And you can also use a small filbert brush. Let's see, I think this is a 6. If you have a 4, that would work too. And you can, I try not to use the filbert because I just seem to get the exact same shape over and over. If I pick up my round, I'm more apt to get some odd shapes so that I can make it a little bit more believable. If they get too similar, it doesn't, it just looks fake. Okay, and I take my little extender brush anytime I need to diffuse one. I can tap it with my finger to soften a petal. And I just rock and roll my brush in all different directions, because then you get different shapes, different sizes. And we'll move down here a little bit. And that's close to his leg. We're going to paint a leg over that in a minute. And I pat some so that they're so faint. Let's pull this in a little bit so you can You can get a little bit closer view. See, I put the paint on and then I just tapped it a little, which removes a little bit of the paint. It's just a little trick I do to make sure I'm not doing exactly the same thing over and over. Get some flowers sticking out a little bit on the side over here. Okay, and I'm gonna vary the colors in a minute. Put some over the branch. We don't want to leave the branch completely uncovered. Throw leaves on it, throw flowers on it. And I'll put a few down here. Alright, now I'm going to pick up on that same dirty brush. I'm just going to pick up a little bit of white, which will make us have a little bit of a highlight on some of these. And you can throw in little dashes of lights. Not every petal will have a highlight, but some will. And just work that light into my pink brush. Just a little extra bit of white. I like to do 3 values: the medium, a light, and some darks. We'll do the darks next. And the darks will be your Naphthol Red Light mixed into that first mix. So it's a little bit brighter. Okay, so that was my first mix. I added white to it, get a light mix, add a little bit of the more of the red. It just gets a little brighter. And we'll go back. And if it's not bright enough, or I should say dark enough, you can add just a little bit of burnt umber to it. There we go. Now I can see the color change. Or you can add just a little bit of blue to it, and that will deepen it. There we go. So we'll put in a few dark touches. And I didn't want these flowers to become too stylized. I see up here they did a little bit. I'm going to put a little extender on my finger. I'm going to see if I can change that a little. They're not quite so perfect. It's hard to keep flowers realistic looking. We tend to do same movement with our brush, same stroke, same old, but that gets very boring. So it's best that we change it up a little bit. Put a few dark petals in. And I want to thank everybody for sending me pictures of your work that you've been working on. Being on this side of the camera, I don't get to see your work. When I taught in person, I could see you, and I hope I've answered all your questions that you had. Okay, we're going to take a little bit of our medium green, and you can tap in just a little green for centers. Just a little bit, only a couple of them. They're twisting and turning, so only a couple get a little green in the center. And then I'll come back and I'll tap in a little Hansa yellow. That'll brighten things up a bit. Little Hansa yellow, and maybe even a little white with that if you can't see it with the Hansa yellow. And we just dab. Yeah, definitely the Hansa yellow is transparent, so you might want to add a little bit of white. Then we can go in and just a touch here and there of some yellow. I put it near the green. Just adds a little something to the flowers. A little bit of highlight. This one here I'd like just a little bit more because it's next to the bird. So we can do a little bit more to that petal. Okay, just a little bit. Okay. Now I've got some spaces where I didn't throw leaves in, so I'm going to take my medium green and I'm going to dab in a few more leaves. And if you have a branch that is just not as attractive, you can throw a leaf over it. Okay. Okay. All right, now we can begin our bird. Got our flowers in. They look pretty. We're going to take phthalo blue. I'm going to have to take a little bit more out because I can see I'm running low. Take a little more blue. Got a bluebird here, so we have to have blue. Oh, we have background music. My husband has unpacked all of his CDs, so I now have music, which is delightful. I love to paint to music. Okay, the phthalo blue is going to be extra dark by adding just a little touch of black or a little touch of raw umber to it. Okay, that will be our darkest blue. Then I'm going to take my dark blue that we just mixed up and I'm going to add white to it. And I'll get a pretty medium blue. Whoops, I'm not on the camera. Here's my dark blue. Here's a nice medium blue. And then we'll add darks and lights as needed. Okay. We're going to start at the top of his head. And we'll start with adding just a little bit of blue. And the camera's going to stop after a few minutes, so I'll just begin the bird and we'll finish it up on the next series. Okay, and then the back of his head, he gets a really dark blue. And my phthalo is a little bit transparent. So we're going to put in this nice dark blue. And I think I could even I used the burnt umber or raw umber, but I think I'm going to take just a little touch. I really want this as dark a blue as I can get, before it turns black. And right now that's pretty light. But we'll go back over it again and put some extra darks in there. Okay, now he's going to have a white face, so we'll leave the face part white. We're going to go down his back. And he gets a little bit of this blue, kind of like a little collar under his neck. And then it branches off to his wing area. And we can let him have a couple of feathers sticking out. Don't make him too fuzzy, or it won't look real. This little wing is also going to be the dark. And then this tapers down and gets a little bit narrower down at the bottom here. Goes right over the branch, and it's going to meet the under feather. This under feather gets a little dark on the edge and on the tips. So I lay that blue in, and we'll work some of the lighter colors into it. And it gets a little shadow of blue under where the leg will come out. So those are our blue areas. And like I said, it needs to be a good dark blue. So if that doesn't come out dark the first time, we can add a little bit more paint to shadow it later. But gets a little in the back wing, a little bit where the leg will come out of. Now these aren't blended, and it doesn't look nice right now. We just laid the color in. Okay, now, okay, we're going to stop here, and I'll get my next colors out, and we'll be right back to finish our bird.